If you are dating someone in another country, there's one mistake many people don't realize they are making until it's too late. It's not about love. It's not about effort. It's about clarity. Because some long-distance relationships don't really struggle because of distance. They struggle because certain conversations never happen early enough. At first, it feels exciting. Airport reunions, late-night calls, choosing each other despite the distance. Distance can make everything feel intentional, but it also tests your emotional security, your expectations, your long-term direction. So, how do you know whether what you are building can survive real life, not just special visits? Today, I will walk you through 5 reflections with real stories and practical tools, so you can make decisions from clarity, not intensity. Because clarity before commitment changes everything. Number 1, distance shows the best version first. Let's start with something many people don't notice at the beginning. Long-distance relationships often reveal the most polished version of each other. I remember someone once telling me, "It's so easy with him, we never argue." They had only met during planned visits. Everything felt focused, intentional, romantic. Then she stayed for a full month. On the 4th week, after a difficult day at work, he became quiet, withdrawn. She tried to talk, he needed space. That evening, she lay awake wondering why it suddenly felt different. Nothing dramatic had happened. They were just seeing each other under ordinary stress for the first time. The issue wasn't a conflict, it was exposure to ordinary life. Distance shields us from friction, but friction is where compatibility quietly shows up. How someone handles pressure, tightness, inconvenience that matters more than airport reunions. Practical tool, the ordinary week test. If you want to bring clarity to this earlier, try something simple. Before going deeper, spend the time together doing normal things, work full days, run errands, handle small stress, and ask yourself, how do we function when things aren't romantic? Romance thrives in intensity. Compatibility views itself in routine. And this next part is where even strong relationships begin to feel unstable. Number 2, distance amplifies emotion. The second thing distance does is amplify emotion. Distance doesn't create insecurity, it amplifies whatever is already there. I once heard about a couple navigating a big time difference. They managed the 7 hours time difference. At first, it felt meaningful. She stayed awake past midnight. He woke up early. It felt like effort. Months later, exhaustion replaced the novelty. One evening, she fell asleep before calling. He stared at his phone longer than usual. The silence felt heavier than it should have. Not because love had changed, but because distance leaves space, and when we care deeply, the mind fills with space quickly. The challenge wasn't commitment, it was interpretation. Without physical reassurance, small gaps felt significant. Interpretation becomes louder than reality. Practical tool, the communication agreement. To reduce unnecessary tension, try this. Instead of assuming expectations, define them. Ask, what does consistency mean to us? What happens on busy days? How do we signal, I'm just tired, not distant? Clarity reduces unnecessary anxiety. Silence becomes neutral, not threatening. Number 3, effort must feel balanced. The third thing that often shifts is balance. Imbalance rarely appears dramatically, it builds quietly. A friend of a friend once told me, she was almost always the one traveling. She didn't mind at first, but gradually she realized she was always adjusting her leave, always rearranging her schedule, often covering more cost. He appreciated her effort, but rarely initiated change. There was no argument, but a growing heaviness. she couldn't quite explain. The problem wasn't obvious at first. It just accumulated. Healthy love isn't measured by equal miles. Sometimes life circumstances aren't equal, and that's real. But perceived fairness still matters. Unspoken imbalance eventually becomes resentment. Practical tool, the effort audit. Here's a simple way to check in before resentment grows. Every few months, reflect together. Who traveled the last? Who adjusted more? Who initiated more? Not to criticize, just to rebalance. Mutual investments sustains long-distance love. If you're still watching, this probably feels personal. So let me ask you, are you building something sustainable or holding on to something intense? Let's talk about the part most couples avoid. Number 4, the location question is inevitable. Now let's talk about the question that eventually surfaces. Even if you don't discuss it early, it's a location. I've known a couple who avoided talking about relocation for nearly 2 years. They preferred to stay present until someone casually asked, "So, where will you both live long term?" Silence. His career was stable. Her qualifications might not transfer easily. Neither had misled each other. They had simply postponed the question. And postponing it made it difficult when it finally arrived. The difficult wasn't a disagreement. Relocation isn't just geography. It touches identity, career, and family. And the support system. Avoid the conversation doesn't remove the reality. Practical tool, the 5-year conversation. So before this becomes emotional loaded, try this. You don't need the detailed plan, but ask, if this relationship grows, what might our life look like? Alignment matters more than immediate answer. Number 5, cultural differences appear in conflict. Finally, there's something more subtle. Cultural differences feel charming at first. They become visible during disagreement. Someone once shared with me that the first serious argument revealed something unexpected. In her upbringing, direct expression meant honesty. In his, restraint meant respect. She felt unheard, and he felt overwhelmed. Neither was wrong. They were shaped differently. Distance had hidden that difference. Conflict revealed it. What they discovered wasn't incompatibility. It was simply difference. Cultural difference isn't the problem. Leave it unexamined is. I actually talked about something related in our previous video about snapping in relationships. Sometimes the issue isn't the disagreement itself, it's the tone, the reaction, the way stress shows up between two people. And when cultural differences are different, these reactions can easily be misunderstood. Practical tool, cultural curiosity dialogue. To prevent unnecessary misunderstanding, begin with curiosity. Ask each other, how does your family handle conflict? What feels respectful to you? What feels caring to you? Curiosity prevents defensiveness. Flexibility strengthens connection. Some long-distance relationships don't struggle because of distance. It struggles when clarity is missing. And clarity means being honest about everyday compatibility, communication expectations, effort balance, future location, cultural assumptions. These are not romantic details. They are structural foundations. Preparation doesn't weaken love. It strengthens it. Choosing each other across distance can be beautiful, but intensity alone doesn't create stability. The real question isn't whether we feel strongly, it's whether we are building something that lasts. In the next episode, we will talk about what happens when moving countries becomes real. Because that's where love stops being cinematic and starts becoming life design. See you there.